staff may want to be aggressive in muting those members who are not speaking, because there is some random background noise.
Yes, and I think, yeah, I don't have the host panel, which you're lucky. I would be muting left and right, but that's good feedback. Thanks, Rob. God, thank you. Michelle, are we ready? Thank you so much. Seriously.
We're live, Madam Chair. Thank you.
I'm sorry, you ready?
We're live, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Oh, live. Oh, that's very hip. We're live. All right, everybody. Well, good morning. And to all of my colleagues, and thank you for joining me for this special meeting. And I'm now calling it to order. Just a couple of things I wanted to say. I think Rob had a good point about making sure that if you can keep yourself on mute, if you accidentally come off mute during a presentation, I'm just going to ask the staff to mute you for your own good and so that we can all hear each other. If I could ask my colleagues, if you're familiar with using the raise hand button, which is at the bottom of your participant panel, if you could do that would be really helpful. If that doesn't work and you don't know how to use it, then just, click yourself off mute and say you'd like to speak when there's a break in the conversation. And for the members of the public wishing to address the board, this is our process. I will notify you once we're ready to take requests to speak. And if you want to address the board, please use the raise hand function on the app or press *9 on your telephone. Each of you will have 1 minute to speak. And Michelle from the board office is going to unmute you. And if you need, and she'll remind you that you're going to need to accept unmute so that you can speak when the timer starts. So if that's comfortable for everybody, what I'd like to do is ask everybody to unmute for this one time during the meeting, everybody, because we're going to do a roll call vote. Elaine will take the roll.
Okay, this is Elaine. I'm going to unmute everybody, okay? All right, so alternate board member Blankley, ex officio board member Bruins.
Here.
Board member Carr, board member Carrasco, board member Cortese.
Here.
Alternate board member Davis.
Here.
Board member Dieppe.
Present.
Alternate board member Ellenberg. Board member Jones.
Here.
Alternate board member Nis.
Here.
Board member Liccardo.
Present.
Board member McAllister.
Here.
Alternate board member Miller.
Here.
Board member Nunez.
Present.
Alternate board member O'Neill.
Present.
Board member Perales.
Here.
Board member Rennie.
Here.
Vice Chair Hendricks.
Present.
Chairperson Chavez.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum. I'm going to mute everybody now except for Chairperson Chavez.
Thank you.
All right.
And I would like to ask Glenn Hendricks to lead us in the pledge. If you're able to stand, please stand.
If you'd please stand. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Glenn. We're now going to go to public comment, and this is for those who want to address the board under public comment. Please use the raise hand function, and please start by raising your hand now if you'd like to speak on this item. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons addressing the Board of Supervisors, the Board of Directors on any item within the board's jurisdiction. Each speaker is limited to 1 minute. And just as a reminder, we can't take action on any item that's raised under this section. And if it's a customer service issue, we'll leave the contact information up on the screen, or you can contact me or any colleague directly. So with that, if we have any public comment, this would be the time to raise your hand and be called upon.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It looks like we have 2 members of the public who would like to speak. I will first call on caller with last 4 digits 6262, followed by John first last initial S. Caller 6262, I will unmute you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak thereafter.
Good morning, directors. This is Roland Lebrand using my cell phone today because I've got audio issues on my laptop. I wrote to you last night, and there's a letter that, in the packet essentially saying that we cannot carry on having these kinds of presentations being posted on the website after midnight, in my case. Mr. Salpeus has taken over the project. He used to work for BART. You know that back in the BART days, he had to submit his presentations at the 72 hours when the packet was ready to go out. And the sooner Mr. Salpeus starts bringing some kind of BART governance to this project, the better. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, it looks like we lost the other speaker, so
Okay.
that's all I have.
Thank you. With that, we're going to move to our regular agenda item, and this is the item number 3.1, and this is an information item, and we're receiving an update on BART Silicon Valley Phase 2. Members of the public who wish to address the board can start to raise their hands now or press star 9 on the phone, and we will call you after the presentation. And just for my colleagues, what we will do is we're going to hear the presentation. I'll see if there are public comments, and then I'll come to each of you as you raise your hands as well. And I apologize, it doesn't show order of raised hands, so I will call you as I'm able to see them. All right, so Nuria?
Yes, good morning, and thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the board, and the public. The purpose of today's presentation is to provide an update on the BART Phase 2 program. As you all may know, after the record of decision was issued by the Federal Transit Administration back in 2018, we had committed to the BART organization that we would be looking at a center platform with a side-by-side track configuration. Now, I'll just remind everyone that the record of decision document was issued with the agreed stack configuration, single bore stack configuration from Berryessa, tail tracks all the way to the city of Santa Clara. Through that commitment to do an analysis of a center platform, we then informed the board that we were going to be designing the center platform to a 10% so that we could get a better sense of, one, is it constructible and feasible, and then get a sense also on the cost and schedule. We proceeded to do that, and I want to thank Carl Holmes, who is the chief engineer for BART and has joined us at this meeting, and his team, together with Tamar Allen, who is the chief operating officer, as we review that potential center platform with the side-by-side configuration. Unfortunately, our intent to make this possible required us to have a much larger tunnel diameter and a deeper tunnel by about 10 feet. And that increased the cost and also the risk. As you all may recall, we also held a industry forum, a contractors industry forum earlier this year. And we heard from several of the contractors that given the size of the tunnel, which was new to transit subways, and the depth of that tunnel, that the risk was too much, and they were not certain that we would be getting bids. And if we did get bids to build this configuration, they will be much higher than what we had budgeted. And in fact, it turned out that a center platform side-by-side configuration was approximately $4 billion more than what we had estimated to invest in this project. So today, spoiler alert, we have addressed BART's concern, and we will review what those concerns were. And we have a plan. But that plan, we have two different concepts. to address that plan. And what I would like to do is walk us through, provide some background so that everyone who, all board members, in addition to members of the public, have the same body of knowledge as to how we got here. And then we'll follow with the presentation on two concepts that preserve the single board stack configuration in the downtown area, but approaches downtown and leaves downtown two different ways. And following that, we will talk about next steps and path forward. The purpose of today's presentation is not to get a decision. This is just for information. But we're at a critical point, as you all know. We intended to submit an application to the Federal Transit Administration through their expedited project delivery pilot program. And we want to make sure that we share with you the concepts that we're exploring and the timeline that we need to complete the analyses so that we can come back to you later on in the year with a recommendation. With that, I'm going to ask Bernice Alanis, who is our Director of BART Delivery Program Operations, to provide us with background, and she will be followed by Tata Salpias, who is our Chief BART Program Delivery Manager. Bernice?
Thank you, Nuria. I'm going to give you a little more history. Nuria did a very good overview of where we were and where we are. So I won't repeat very much of that. But yes, as Nuria stated, back in 2018, we received our environmental clearance. We got our certification, the board certified the supplemental environmental impact report on the single bore stacked platform configuration. We also, a couple months later in that same year, we got a record of decision on the single bore stacked platform configuration. Concurrent to pursuing the federal funding, as Nuria also mentioned, we began last summer advancing the design of a larger single bore. The certification and approval of the environmental documents was with a caveat that we would explore a single bore stacked configuration. That is the configuration in the predominant amount of the BART system. So we began that exploration last summer. As Nuria stated, when we reached that 10% design level, it became apparent that that larger bore tunnel, the cost were exceeding our funding availability. And as Nuria also mentioned, we did get feedback from tunneling experts and those at our forum earlier this year that the project posed more risk and it might not have the level of competition that can further reduce the bids. So we began looking at what other options we may have. We then looked at both. We looked at both the larger bore along with both configurations that were analyzed in the environmental document, both the twin bore and the single bore. These three configurations were evaluated based on available funding constraints, federal funding process, environmental clearance, construction impacts, contrasting risks, and innovation opportunities. The twin bore configuration continues to be a less favorable option due to the construction impacts in the downtown San Jose core. The larger single bore, as we've now mentioned a couple of times, has the higher risks associated with it and is cost prohibitive. So we were looking at then what would be our options at this point and began revisiting the environmentally approved stacked configuration in the single bore tunnel. BART had previously raised operational concerns for the stacked configuration. There were three main operational concerns, the first being related to emergency egress. Their concerns were related to enclosed stairwells And during an emergency situation, especially for passengers on upper decks, that they may have to go down a level of stairs to actually then go back up. They felt that that was counterintuitive, what one might naturally be inclined to do during an emergency. And if you were going to go and you knew you needed to go up, you might want to be looking for a stairwell going up and you need to go down. The others were related to their actual operations. The stacked configuration within the single bore tunnel involves the operators making some transitions with ramps, and that is not customary in that system and would require some more training and an operation that is not standard and customary for the BART operations folks. The third operational concern is related to ventilation. And the designs that VTA did for the ventilation in the tunnel structures differ also than the customary operations of BART. And that would also require some training for unique operational scenarios, especially during emergencies. So we took a step back, and while these challenges and the concerns that BART expressed exist, there's an opportunity with the single bore stack configuration to enhance that configuration and address these operational concerns that BART has previously raised and exist. Takis Salpias is now going to take you through what these enhancements can be that we could proceed possibly with a couple options on the environmentally approved stacked configuration in a single bore tunnel.
Bernice, thank you. Madam Chair, board members, good morning. We are here in the conference room and very close to the general manager's office. And to my left is Mr. Carl Holmes, the engineering officer from BART. Carl, are you on?
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can see me. Carl Holmes, Assistant General Manager, Design and Construction for BART. And I'm happy to be here, excited, looking forward to moving ahead with the optimized single bore stacked concepts that you will hear from Takis today. And with that, I'll pass it back to Takis.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. Please look at page 5. And I would like to take you slowly to a little tour of the project, just for all of us to have the same database. The phase 2 is about 32,000 feet long, or 6 some miles long. It's 60% of our phase 1. And phase 1 has 2 stations. And here we're talking 4 stations. And as we're going down from the Berryessa station, you can see the alignment, crosses 101, comes to downtown. Downtown definition is from 13th Street to Stockton Avenue and continues to Santa Clara Station and to the yard. For that, keep in your minds, 40% of the project is within downtown and 60% of the project is outside downtown. Let's continue down from Berryessa Station, go to the end of the tracks, which they are built, and we are in the final stages of testing to open phase 1. We're gonna continue down from there, go under 101, and continue to downtown. As I understand it, and as the principles were given to me, and now I know them well, is we cannot open the streets downtown. We cannot really disrupt business downtown. We cannot really create adverse construction impacts downtown. Therefore, the solution Bernice and Nuria were referring to, that to resolve the issues or the concerns BART had to be something outside the 12,500 feet of the downtown alignment. I will flip now to the next page, page 6. And then I will go back to 5, but I will show you on page 6. We produce here what we call it a ventilation emergency egress facility. And the typical diagram for that is at the ground ventilation structure with above ground a service entrance, if you like it. And then at the ground, we providing this track configuration for the two tracks to come to the ventilation structure and be next to each other with a center platform. And then as they continue downtown, one track, it will go above the other. The ramps, as Bernice mentioned. And if you go to page 7, you will see 2 aerial pictures just to give you a concept of what these ventilation structures, where they are. The environmental document previously approved had clear a location for the above ground ventilation service facility, something like a 60 by 80 building or footprint, if you like it, which is around 13th Street. For that, we, based on the geometrics of page 6, we sketch for you that we mine the underground box, the cotton cover box, if you like it, has to go something like 1,000 feet, 1,200 feet at the ground on Santa Clara Street. And similar approach to that is on Stockton Avenue. And on Stockton Avenue, as I understand it, 3 alternate locations were clear in the environmental document to put the service house, if you like it, the ventilation service. For that, the idea here was, and please go back for 1 minute to page 5 now, and I will connect the concepts to the map of the project. For that, you can see now, as I told you, in the 40% of the project in the downtown area from 13th Street to Stockton, there are really 4 circles. 2 of those circles are the stations, San Jose Downtown Station and the Diridan Station. But on the ends of the downtown limits, if you like it, the 12,500 feet are the 2 ventilation structures, which I just discussed with you. Well, the idea came to us, is there any way to do something with those 2 locations? They are cleared environmentally, they have a footprint of some kind of a service entrances, anything we can do at the ground to resolve the issues and the concerns BART has with a single board stack option. And therefore we can tunnel under the downtown without to disrupt the downtown. For that, we studied this, we went around and about, we had a lot of thoughts, and we came up with 2 ideas. And the 2 ideas are, you can see on page 8. I will take you through page 8 as a concept number 1, optimized concept number 1. Let's go down again. We are in Berryessa now. We go to the end of our tracks in Berryessa. Over there, we're gonna go and cut off 400 feet of the tail tracks, as we call them. And we're gonna build a box. In our language, the name of that, we call that box and that construction retain cut, deep retain cut. That it will take us very close in proximity to 101, but at the ground, under 101. Then from that point on, we're gonna take the 48-footer tunnel. You can see the red line, and please refer to your page, upper left. You can see the red picture on upper left. And we're gonna have the big tunnel with the side-by-side tracks coming down from Berryessa. Gonna come down something like a 9,000 feet railroad, and it will come to some place around the 13th Street, 14th Street ventilation structure I already talked to you. At that point, what we have to do now, that's the reason we need the box, is to take the one track and put it above the other, the ramping. We need to stack the tracks, as they call it, and take it now in that configuration and clear in the blue the downtown, the 2 stations as you approved before. Single board, stack up platforms and tracks and come all the way to Stockton. At Stockton ventilation facility, unstack the tracks and put them again side by side and continued a great the rest of the conventional construction to Santa Clara Station and to Newell Maintenance Yard. We call this concept one. Then we say, let's look at it a little bit more. We went to page 9, similar configuration. We maintain the single bore stack option in the downtown area, 12,500 feet from about 13th Street to Stockton. Nothing changed in the downtown area, but we look at the bookends, as we call them. Is there anything we can do? And we decided to put on the table for us to think and see if we can reach a consensus with BART, which was the most important thing. What can we do? We decided to look the twin bores. For us, we coming down from Berryessa, we're gonna go to the tail tracks. We're gonna do the same thing I just described to you at the concept one, cut off 400 feet of tail tracks, put the backs, and from there continue with the twin bores to 13th Street. It's important for me to remind the board and the public that the 28th Street Little Portugal station always was a cut and cover station, a box similar to what we talking for the 13th, 14th Street ventilation structure. As a matter of fact, since I'm here to remind the board that part of that box on the 28th Street, there is also a ventilation structure there. And it has a footprint 60 by 80 on the surface. For that, one of our brilliant young engineers we have here, he reminded me that Takis, we not only have 2 ventilation structures, we have 3 on the 28th Street, and he's totally correct. And I look at the drawings a couple nights ago, and it's right adjacent to the back square, the 28th Street Little Portugal station. For that, this ventilation structure, they have been clear environmentally, and we can use them to benefit ourselves and reach a consensus with BART. For that, we met with BART. Carl is here. He can speak on behalf of the general manager of BART. We had some marathon meetings, as you can imagine. And those marathon meetings were concluded. And I'm very happy to tell you, I feel that we do have an optimum solution. And the conclusion from Mr. Powers at the end of our 3rd in a row marathon meeting was, as long as you maintain the 12,500 feet downtown, as previously approved by the VTA board, which is the single board with a stack, as long as you do the bookends in the best conventional construction you can do, and we are with you very close, shoulder to shoulder in the engineering design, but is in consensus with what VTA is proposing. For that, I took this message to my boss, Ms. Fernandez, and we decided that we're gonna be here before you today and address all the concerns you had, and hopefully we're gonna go to the next steps, which I have it on page 10. With your approval, we like to start Monday to assess the environmental clearance of everything we say. Our general counsel and outside counsels, they have to make sure we are not proposing or try to do something which violates the previously approved record of decision. Definitely, we need to check the right of way if we have any new penetrations, any new encroachments. I'm very mindful of utilities and what utilities may create to a project. And although I understand VTA has very, very many years work of utilities engineering, I like to see this myself and address further the considerations. Are there any other considerations? I heard a couple comments from my colleagues here at VTA and BART about the location of the boxes. Can the boxes move a little bit right, a little bit left? How that can be done? What is the method of construction? And I had to go through. For that's the other consideration. Then after we address that, I'd like to do similar to what happened with a big tunnel, the side-by-side 56-footer tunnel. I like to do some engineering on that and to incorporate BART's design criteria and definitely have BART's operational input here. It's very important, as Bernice mentioned, the operational input from BART is very important here because of the ramping. Although I'm pleased to tell you, when you approved the stack option tunnel, there were 4 ramps inside the tunnel. Today, the design concepts I have before you, they reduced the 4 ramps down to 2, which that was another breakthrough in the concerns BART had. Only 1 track is moving up and down. The other track stays at all time in the same level. If you like to see this, and I can explain it to you, go back to page 6, and you will see track S2, the track which goes to Berryessa and north. It stays at the same level. Only the other track, S1, as you can see on page 6, goes through a ramp to go above the S2. Then we like to develop, like Nuria said, develop the cost and the schedule, which are very important to see where we are. Also, I would like to take the pulse of the contracting industry, assuming things will get more open and better as we're going on, and see how the contractors perceive our plan, our construction plan. Get all these things together, do a risk assessment on the cost and the schedule, and provide the input to advance the federal funding. That is my thinking here, and we are ready to answer any questions, Madam Chair, you and the board may have.
Thank you very much. And Carl, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate that. What I wanted to do is see if there are any members of the public first who would like to speak, give them an opportunity to do that now. We have a few folks who are joining us now, but I just wanted to give, these meetings we're all getting used to kind of jumping in when we could and should. So we have a couple of callers. I'm gonna let Michelle, if you want to go ahead and go to public comment, and then I'll come back to the board for comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In addition, I also wanted to note a written comment that we received, and this letter has been posted on our website, on our agenda portal. It is from members of East Bay for Everyone, Friends of Caltrain, Sierra Club Loma Prieta, Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action, Trans Bay Coalition, urban environmentalists, and various individuals.
Thank you. And I also just wanted to acknowledge that we've received written comments from Gerald Cawthon, Nicholas Ball Jones, Stephen Green, Benjamin Schneider, Susan Setterholm, and Jim Stallman. And those comments are included on the online agenda packet. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I will go now to our callers, and I will call the following in this order. Scott Nees, caller, last 4 digits 6262, and Adina, first initial L. Scott, I will unmute you now. Please accept the unmute, and you may speak when you're ready.
Good morning, Chairman Chavez and members of the board. It's nice to see your faces, even though you look like Hollywood squares on my screen. As you know, we all did a tremendous amount of work 2 years ago that culminated in the single bore stack station configuration approved by both BART and VTA. And we didn't want to have another Groundhog Day moment and go back and relitigate this momentous decision. I can't tell you how happy I am to hear the presentation just now And it looks like all of those marathon meetings that Takis was talking about turned into an actual peace summit between BART and VTA. Thank you to everybody for your hard work in coming to this new agreement. Let's make sure it sticks this time, and let's go grab some of that federal infrastructure stimulus money we hope that's coming and start building. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you. And now I will call on caller 6262. I believe that's Roland. I will unmute you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak when you're ready.
Thank you, and good morning again, directors. So the first thing I'd like to do is to encourage all of you to please read the letter that Michelle just referred to, which is in the packet, because this is what I'm going to echo. So there are good news in alternative 2, is that yes, we're going to take twin balls under 101, and we're going to have a cut and cover at Alum Rock. And then all the problem starts because of the stack configuration, starting with the 2 700-foot trenches under East Santa Clara and Stockton. And Diridan, there's absolutely no way we will ever have an integrated station with stack platforms. So in closing, the only viable solution is cut and cover at 28 and Diridan and a centerboard mine platform downtown, all connected via twin bore tunnels. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I will call on Adina, first initial L, followed by Monica, first initial M, and Blair. Adina, I'm unmuting you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak when you're ready.
Is that unmuted? Is that?
Hi, Adina, we can hear you.
Okay. Also, I am hearing an echo.
You might have your computer and your phone going at the same time.
Yeah, I usually have a way to fix that with Zoom, but because I only have 1 minute, let me just cut out the Zoom for a second.
Michelle, could you start her time again? Thank you.
Good morning, board members. Adina Levin with Friends of Caltrain, and want to thank VTA for doing this work to, I'm sorry, I'm going to need to cut the computer.
Madam Chair, we can call on Adina when she comes back. Meanwhile, if we can move on to our next speaker, Monica, first initial M. I will unmute you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak when you're.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to echo the comments that have already been made and encourage you all to consider the letter that was sent by Friends of Caltrain, Silicon Valley Youth Climate Action, and other groups. I specifically really want to ask that you consider using different tunnel construction and reconsidering the routing to reduce the cost of this extension. Conversations that you will begin to have today about this extension and the decisions that you will make in the coming months will have a significant impact on the future of transit in Santa Clara County. I personally believe that the people in Santa Clara County and the Bay Area in general deserve a seamless world-class transit system. And we don't just deserve it, we need it to solve the climate crisis. And to achieve that, we really need to rethink all of our investments and figure out how to spend our money in the best way possible to achieve those goals. So again, please take a look at the letter if you haven't already and consider the asks in that. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. And now I will call on the following. Blair, followed by Derek, followed by Ron, first initial K. Blair, I'm unmuting you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak when you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to offer that over the past month of these webinars, a few people, and like what the speaker just spoke about, a few people have spoken how there can be ways to cut costs and to make it a more efficient project. And I hope that can be noted in what you're about to be doing. I also wanted to note that, you know, this is a sensitive time, and that for yourselves as government, if you can learn how good outreach patterns with the community. I mean, this is a sensitive subject about issues of eminent domain and so forth. And government kind of looks a bit mean and tough right now. I hope there can be ways you can be sensitive to offer outreach and community back and forth. That's very important at this time. Good luck in that effort. And to the woman, I wanted to quickly offer, if I could, if she just dials her phone number.
Thank you, Blair. Now I will call on Derek, followed by Ron, followed by John, first initial C. Derek, I'm unmuting you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak when you're ready.
Hi, this is Derek Sachorn with East Bay for Everyone. I wanted to echo points made by Monica. I think that VTA needs to take a moment here to reconsider the design as proposed and explore a more efficient, cost-effective design that prioritizes riders rather than some of these other considerations. We need to make sure that our transit projects are efficient, effective, that they get riders where they want to go, and we're not building stations that are really deep, expensive, that don't prioritize their needs. The Santa Clara extension is redundant, especially based on Caltrain's business plan. I would hope VTA is working collaboratively and not trying to compete against Caltrain. And this extension, as proposed, would be a net loss to both agencies. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Now I will call on Ron. Ron, I'm unmuting you now. Please accept the unmute and you may speak when you're ready.
Good morning. I would like to point out that Santa Clara Street is really wide and probably is more suitable for a cut and cover approach using something like the Milan tunneling method than a deep bore tunnel. This not only would be less expensive, but it would provide much better station access. What we're talking about with this deep tunnel is, you know, people having to go.
I'm sorry, Ron, one moment. It looks like you got cut off. Ron, please try again. My apologies.
Okay. So are we clear? So are we clear again?
Yes.
Okay. So as I was saying, and I'm sorry, some of this is going to be a repeat. Santa Clara Street is wide, probably wide enough that you could maintain traffic flow even while you were doing a cut and cover tunnel, and especially if you're using a method like they used in Milan. And I think it's important to consider a very shallow tunnel, especially one without a mezzanine, because station access is much better in a shallow tunnel than in a tunnel where you have to go down 5 stories to get to the trains. Second, I think that building all the way to Santa Clara seems redundant, and that I urge the board to look for a yard location that allows them to build less trackage. Thank you and have a good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now I will call on John, followed by Adina. John, I'm unmuting you now. Please accept and mute, and you may begin when you're ready.
Good morning. This is John Courtney from President ATU Local 265. I just felt the need to chime in because I heard someone say about grabbing the stimulus money, and I just wanted to remind folks that that was hard fought for money by Noria and APTA and the ATU, and that money's use should be primarily for operations to bring back transit in Silicon Valley. We're gonna have a huge struggle bringing people back to our transit system after this COVID crisis. So I just wanted to remind everyone that that money is primarily for operations to bring back transit and for PPE and those sorts of things. And we are equally as excited about bringing BART to Santa Clara and to San Jose, but we must be reminded that that money is for operations. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
After Michelle, excuse me, Angus will be our last speaker on this item. We're going to close the public hearing after Angus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And now I will call on Adina. Adina, I'm unmuting you now. Please accept the unmute, and you may begin when you're ready. Adina, can you please accept the unmute?
Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
All right, great. Thank you. Apologies for the technical issues. Adina Levin, Friends of Caltrain, support bringing BART to Silicon Valley. Glad to see VTA rethinking the costs of this project. As we are entering a time of financial constraint, it's extremely important to make this project something that we can afford as a region and be able to build out our network as a region. Agree with some of the earlier suggestions, understand the concerns about cut and cover in downtown, but the amount of money we would save, we might be able to support the businesses during that time. Also, now is a good time to reconsider the extension to Santa Clara, which is redundant with Caltrain, and to think about other, either keep the storage yard, but not build a redundant station and redundant operating service, or.
Thank you, Adina. And now I will call on our last public speaker, Angus. Angus, I will unmute you now. Please accept the unmute, and you may begin when you're ready.
Hi, I'm Angus. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. So there's a ventilation building that's proposed between downtown San Jose Station and Little Portugal Station. In that area, we're looking at North 13th Street and East Santa Clara. On North 14th Street and between North 14th and North 17th Street, Santa Clara County owns a parcel of land there that currently is mostly empty. There's a small hospital in one corner of the land. So one of the design alternatives is actually to tunnel under roughly that piece of land to avoid the bridge foundations at East Santa Clara Street. If we can move that ventilation building onto the county-owned land, we could probably save a couple of pennies, and potentially have an infill station there if we can consult with the people leading the project for Santa Clara County.
Thank you. So that's all of our public speakers. I'm going to go to Nuria, and then I'm going to begin calling on my colleagues. If Nuria, could you join in the conversation, and then we'll get to everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I really appreciate this. I just wanted to go back to my opening remarks. I mentioned that we had hit a breakthrough with BART, and that it was going to be solving all of the concerns that they had raised. And I believe that in the presentation that you heard, a lot of emphasis was placed on the bookends and how we accommodated a side-by-side configuration in concept 1 with a 48-foot tunnel, and then in concept 2 with twin bores. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay, but the breakthrough really was at the ventilation facilities. What we are proposing is that at each of these ventilation facilities, in addition to providing the ventilation for the underground structure, they're also going to serve and be designed to accommodate emergency egress. So the concerns about a stack configuration where individuals will have to either go down staircases to then access a train, another train, or to egress out of the facility, and how counterintuitive that was. We have now looked at the ventilation structures as what we're calling the emergency stations. They're only going to be used for evacuation and any other needs, but they will become the solution to any disabled vehicle, or if in case of fire or any other type of distress that the system experiences, that the trains would then use, will go to either of these ventilation structures, the one at 13th Street and or the one at the Deerdown Station, as that is the way that we are addressing the concerns that BART had raised when they shared their objection to the single bore stack. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, because this was extraordinary, and it will require, and I'll just turn this over to Takis in just a minute, this will require us to have a cut and cover structure built on Santa Clara Street, east of 13th Street, and then at Stockton. So those were the 2 points I wanted to make sure that all of you had some clarity around. And if you have any questions regarding those, this would be the perfect time to raise those questions. Takis, unless you have something other to add, I will turn this back to our board chair.
Okay. So we have a few questions. I'll start with Director Perales.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. My first question is actually in regards to the concept 1 and concept 2. So it sounds like, Carl, you're saying from BART's perspective, either one of those concepts would be acceptable if they, obviously, after further analysis, they could be feasible?
Yes. Sorry for the echo. The answer is yes. BART is excited about both concepts, and we plan to work collaboratively on the engineering and estimating of both of those concepts. And that would include, of course, limiting the stacked portion of it to the 12,500 lineal feet or thereabouts. But yes, and to echo Nuria's comments, the reduction of the ramps was key, as Takis mentioned, but also the utilization of the emergency stations for enhancing the emergency egress, not only for riders, but also for first responders.
Thank you. And I asked that because, I know that one of the issues was in regards to this single bore, the smaller bore, not necessarily having a lot of space in the center platform. But I think the idea here would be, because we're talking about an emergency only sort of exit, I'm assuming then you're saying BART is comfortable with the center platform that we could squeeze in between on this smaller single bore, like the little image that we're looking at on the right there that shows a center platform. Clearly in the single bore tunnel, that's a smaller platform.
Yes.
Okay, great. So that's helpful. And the reason why too, if somebody can go to the concept 2. Thank you. One thing that I think I was concerned about with this concept was moving from a double twin bore to a single bore, and just kind of the nature of, construction and what that might look like, needing, I guess 3 different boring machines potentially, to complete the first segment with a twin bore, and then to complete and then to go into a single bore. And so I think I had a couple questions on that. So I those may be solved if indeed concept 1 is something that's feasible. And so in regards to the construction and the options here, I do really appreciate staff's work to try to come to a conclusion that can keep us moving forward. I was really concerned with the growing, cost of the enlarged bore, and then clearly hearing the fact that there may be some challenges with getting competitive bids on that, on who may be interested in doing that. I do appreciate staff's work on being able to move us forward and in really sticking to what was agreed to almost 2 years ago. And so I'm pleased with, pleased with the current presentation and where I think we've come to an agreement. A couple other questions though in regards to that. So we've had a small business assistance study happening. And certainly if now we're looking at the potential of this cut and cover on Santa Clara, even if it's not in the core of downtown, but we're talking between, maybe 12th and 16th or 13th and 16th, not necessarily ironed out yet, but in that general area, there are businesses there today. And so we may have a greater need for this business assistance in that area versus what we were originally thinking with potential impact in downtown. So just curious what the timeline looks like for that, when the results for that study will be provided to us.
I'm going to ask, Madam Chair, if I may, I'm going to ask Bernice Alanis to address this.
Thank you. We were in the midst of the small business study, and in the middle of March, we put that on a pause because we wanted to be respectful of the businesses and some of the challenges they may be facing right now. And we thought that the information that we were gathering may be significantly changing. So we will be going out. We have documentation of all the businesses, but we were at the point where we were getting specifics on number of employees, what their access to the facilities, and some of that will be relevant, but we do want to go back out and get the most relevant, recent, updated information so that we have that incorporated into whatever plans we end up initiating for a small business program. So we still have the initial survey results, but we do want to update all those to be reflective of what the current situation is with those small businesses in the area.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I know that certainly the businesses in this particular area would not have been expecting a cut and cover. That has not been part of our discussion. Definitely the ventilation box has been, so it's not that we haven't had a footprint in the area, but the footprint will grow with this this option, and the impacts will grow. And so I want to make sure that and I guess maybe it's a good thing, right, that it's sort of paused, because this may allow us an opportunity to shift focus to some of these other areas on Stockton and then here on East Santa Clara, and ensure that we're engaging with the right businesses for this nature. And then as well, just an interest of mine, obviously, to engage with the community members. Our chair lives walking distance from this area. And so I imagine—
That is a good point.
I imagine her neighbors as well will be very interested, right, with a shift there, if indeed we're going to have some more impact. And so speaking of those impacts, I'm curious what that might look like. Do you have an idea right now, Takis, what street are we talking from, 12th or 13th? Well, I'm looking at the imagery, right, and trying to get an idea. You had a map, another slide, I believe, earlier that showed from 12th to 16th. I don't know if you can go to that slide. Yeah, that one there. So is that what we're talking about? So this is the potential limits. We don't know much more than this right now.
Yes, I do not. I only know the standard criteria of what it will take to stop a train underneath, like we explained. The center platform on the icons you saw there, they're gonna need 750 feet. The length of a standard BART train, 750 feet. For sure, we need to provide 750 feet platform. Now, what I don't know yet, the geometrics of how the tracks will come from the east and how the tracks will go to the west through this emergency facility. For that, I earmark on the page 4 or 5 blocks here or 4 blocks, just to be fully transparent with the board. And as we go into the engineering, I will have precise where we're gonna do that.
And to give us an idea of what a more precise footprint might look like, it won't look like 4 or 5 blocks. It may look like 3 blocks.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
Yes,
So,
each block there is about 300. I'm asking Ronak, 300 feet, 300, 350. Yes, I would say right now 3+ feet. Yep, 3+ blocks. Yes.
okay. So that's helpful. And then what time frame would we be talking about where I know that was a major concern for us in the downtown core on, just the length of time we would have a cut and cover box, and to describe it better, right? Cut and cover, just this big hole we dig from the the ground level down. And so what kind of timeline of impacts would we be talking about for having this hole there on Santa Clara?
The best answer I have for you, Director Morales, right now is my experience and what I'm collecting. I didn't work on that project, but I am very closely monitor, is the purple line of LA MTA in the West LA area. As you probably heard, they are doing a 22 feet twin bores, but they drag them through cut and cover boxes, similar to what we have here. They're going through the Wilshire, Century City, Westwood, UCLA, and the Beverly Hills. And based on the information I collect from there, for 1,000, let's say 1,200 feet on a major street construction, doing segmental construction, that means you don't shut the cross streets down all at once, but you go piece by piece. And 9 months duration, it's reasonable. That is how I understood it. 9 months. Are we gonna go back and look how LA is doing that, what durations, and then during the design phase, I will look a little bit more deeper to this and see if I'm gonna have an answer for you in the next 3 months on this one. I only reveal with you what I learned from LA. And we should have that discussion again.
Okay, thank you. And in that 9 months, it sounds like you're saying it would be segmented. And then what would the street access look like during construction like that? Is this where we're talking about the large metal plates cover the hole, and then at some point in time, access is available, and then when construction is going on, it's not? Or is 9 months what we're talking about? There will be segments that are just completely off limits and people will have to divert around.
Yes, it's like I said, you're going to be a sequential type of construction. Segments you will move from east to west or from west to east. I don't know that yet. And yes, it's the steel plates, but now the contractors using precast panels, which they are easier to pick up with a crane, drop them in, and restore the street and go underneath and do the rest of the work. I am very confident that LA is not using steel plates, using precast panels, which really match the street surface very well.
Yep. Okay, and then would we be talking about the full width of Santa Clara as well, like all the way out to sidewalk to sidewalk?
I would say between the sidewalks, I think I have to study that. We need to study that, Director Morales. I would like to have an invert at the bottom, about 60 feet wide, to put the platform and the 2 tracks and drag all the equipment for the ventilation. And therefore, when the soldier piles are drilled from the top down, I think, yes, I think we can do it within the street without to disrupt the sidewalks. here and there, depending how linear the 60 feet are on the surface and so on. But definitely, I am telling you today, we are not going to shut down the cross streets, all of them at once, one at a time, and move in segmental type construction.
Okay, that's helpful. And so just to clarify, so this is what I was talking about earlier around the two bores, two types of boring machines maybe needed. So if we were to do a twin bore section, like in that option 2, and then move to a single bore, tell me if I'm wrong, Ray, but we would need different boring machines to do that.
Yes, yes, you're absolutely correct. When we do the comparative analysis, both in engineering and cost and schedule, and we decide that, let's say, we're going to do twin bores from Berryessa down, and when we come to the vent structure at 13 or 14th Street, from that point on, it's going to be the 48-footer machine, which will take us all the way to clear downtown. The answer to your question is yes, most likely, for sure, 2 TBM technologies.
Okay, and is that, I'm assuming obviously we're gonna have to figure out the cost of that. My guess, just intuitively, is that having the one machine and the one type of construction may be more cost effective and easier, but I could be wrong, and I'm assuming that we're gonna obviously figure that out.
You and I were on the same thinking here. That's the reason we have option 1 and option 2. For the option 1, as you see, is the 48-footer TBM is coming down from Berryessa, roughly speaking, and has the track side by side. Therefore, that side-by-side configuration meets the BART criteria, optimizes BART concerns. And the other is the twin bores. And the reason, I repeat myself, the reason we put the twin bores is to have a comparative analysis, to respond to everybody who may say, did you look at the twin bores? Maybe they are cheaper, maybe more effective, they're going faster. We like to have them side by side. We're gonna brief you when we have all this information. And yeah, we really debated, Director Morales here, do we use concept 2 in this discussion? Concept 1 serves us well and satisfies BART's concern. Why do we introduce the concept 2 or optimization 2? For the reasons we just discussed. We need to compare it. We need to see what is the competitiveness in the market. There is not every day which we do 48-footer TBMs, but practically every day, especially in LA now, they do those twin bores. And because of seismic considerations, believe it or not, the diameter on the twin bores in LA is equal to the diameter of what we're gonna need here for BART. And as you know, BART's a wide gauge as compared to a standard subway LA is. For that, we do have some good data here, and we're gonna collect more, and hopefully we're gonna have the right comparison and the right answer for all the elected officials to be able to respond.
Okay, and then I do know that obviously as we're looking at the smaller single bore through downtown, one of the differences and I guess the benefits of the larger bore were the opportunity of having entrances on either side of the street there. Even if that's not a viable option with the current single bore, where we might have to stick to the north side of Santa Clara. One conversation that we had just a few months ago, certainly myself and others brought up the importance still of having multiple entrance and exit, even if the other ones are smaller and not main entrances, and especially one further east from the main entrance in downtown. And so, especially if we're thinking, in this case, able to save some money from the larger single bore, are we intent on the multiple entrances in the downtown core at this point?
Definitely, I'm aware of 2 entrances at the San Jose downtown station. Definitely, and I have seen the drawings. On Diridan, I haven't really find second entrance here because I haven't put the energy to that. But the next 2-3 weeks, I will know about that, and I will talk to the people there and figure out. But my word to you is San Jose downtown, 2 entrances.
Okay, that's definitely good news to hear. I think it would be great too. We talked about it before about the opportunity of if we couldn't have a standard entrance exit on the south side of Santa Clara because of the single bore option, could we have something that at least allows people to enter and cross under Santa Clara Street in an underground, kind of walkway, if you will. We have these very old school in the city right now over by San Jose High on the Alameda. So we've done this in our history, just a simple kind of pass through. So then that way you're not having only entrances on the north side. I think something like that could be engineered very cheaply if we want to look at something like that to then solve the problem of not only having an east and a west entrance, which thank you for just saying that, but also to have a north and a south on Santa Clara, opportunities for people to get in and not having so much pedestrian traffic using our system that has to cross over the cars on Santa Clara itself. And those are the questions I have. Thank you very much.
I would like to yes, we're gonna look at that. I would like to refresh your memory. If you look at page 7, 8, and 9, the icons for the emergency stations are identical, and they are identical for both locations. The breakthrough here was on Monday night, working with BART. BART suggested that we should look on a skinny center platform of 20-footer to put on the emergency stations. We went through, we look at it, and we committed as part of our consensus that that's a good way to do it. But what you see in these two concepts, the icon, which shows a skinny platform of 20 feet and the track side by side. No, the previous concepts we had were side platforms and so on. For that, the collaboration already had dividends so far. Thank you.
We have 2 more board members, and then I'd like to just weigh in. I'm going to go to Glenn and then to Sam.
Yeah, thank you. We heard a lot of technical stuff here, and I just wanted to kind of play back a few comments to see if I'm understanding this from a policy perspective of what we have. So thanks for the presentation. It looks like what we're saying is the large single bore 56-foot single bore tunnel is not viable, and we're no longer going to be pursuing that. The 48-foot single bore stacked option is what is our record of decision, and we're continuing down that path. That prevents us from having to do cut and cover work in downtown San Jose. The options we're looking at do require at the ventilation statements some amount of cut and cover work. That the options we have right here are addressing BART's concerns. The next steps are going to be we have to continue the design work to refine the dollar estimates and the risks of these different options. And that what we're seeing right here is a really good collaboration and working relationship between VTA and BART. Was I paying attention correctly?
Yes, of course.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm going to say yes.
Because I just think that's all good.
Question?
Well, I just wanted to make sure, there's all this technical stuff we're talking about, which is really interesting, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding from a policy perspective that I have to look at. And those seem to me to be the real salient points of what's going on. So thank you.
Thank you, Spider-Man. Sam?
Yeah, cool photo there, Glenn.
I love it.
First, I just want to say a huge thank you to Takis and to Nuria. I know that many of us were on edge as we looked at some of the cost estimates of that larger bore, and the $4 billion is making everybody's eyes pop out. So I just want to say a huge thank you for your work in finding this creative design solution, and a big thank you to Carl for your collaboration. I know this really takes it takes two to make this all work, and really appreciate that BART was willing to sharpen their pencils with us and see how we could find a better solution. So I'm just thrilled. Wanted to ask, Takis, forgive me if you said this already, but if we're forced to use 2 different kinds of boring machines or 2 different bores, has that been used elsewhere before?
No, really, but in the segments in LA Purple Line, which I'm watching very carefully, Mayor Liccardo, is they using the same twin bore TBMs, but different diameter. One is 22.5 and the other is 18.5, but no a 48 and then twin bores. I am not aware of something like that.
Okay. And when do we expect to have sort of the first preliminary estimates of cost of this optimized option?
I am really debating with my boss to allow me 3 to 4 months here. I would like to study a little bit deeper. I think this is the last big effort here to have a project which we're gonna start building it. For that, I try to convince her to allow me 3 to 4 months to come back to all of you with the final estimates, schedule, designs, and so on. Now, she hasn't said yes yet, but I'm working on it.
All right, good luck with the debate. I guess really a question for Nuria is the expectation that we would be filing for the FFGA a month from now, or do you think it would have to wait for the cost estimates to come in? When do you think we could be off and running to the FTA?
That's a very important question, Mayor. And as a matter of fact, given the state of where we are today with looking at these two concepts and the addition of these emergency stations at the ventilation facilities, we are going to need time to not only analyze the constructability, feasibility, and then identify the cost, but then look at the schedule for delivering the program. Therefore, I will be having a conversation with the Federal Transit Administration's regional office and headquarters regarding our expedited project delivery. We had intended initially to submit an application in May, but given this new turn, which is very favorable, and I'm very grateful to Bob Powers and his organization for helping us get here, we're going to need more time because they're going to be asking us for numbers that once we commit to a project value and cost, we're going to be pretty much fixed as it relates to the federal contribution. So we want to get it right. That means that we're looking sometime in the fall after we get the schedule and budget component from the analyses of this new configuration.
Thank you. That's really helpful. And so in terms of cycle times of funding, I imagine that federal funding schedules and calendars are probably completely run amok now with this crisis. Do you have any sense of what that would put us on track for in terms of being able to know whether we got the 1.x billion or not?
Yes, and it's very interesting because the expedited project delivery pilot program does not follow the same schedule as a full funding grant agreement. We have the commitment from the federal government for $150 million. They gave us the $25 million earlier, and then the other $125 at the event that you participated at. So we have $150 million committed. Because it's a pilot program, once we submit our application and they have approved our application, which is supposed to happen within 120 days, we will be getting either a letter of intent or some legal structure that commits them to providing the funding that we need. And that they will then include that in the budget. And if it's not in the regular cycle budget, then the good thing is, because it's pilot, whatever funding is appropriate that would go towards pilot projects would be an opportunity for them to then apportion or allocate. Okay, let me turn up my volume to allocate the funding to our project. We are the only project that has been approved thus far, and it's just a matter of keeping them informed as to what we're doing. But given my experience in working with the FTA, I know that they'll be expecting from us something much more definitive than we now have two concepts. We'll narrow it down to one, and we're just going to add a factor to the earlier dollars. I think that as an organization, it's our responsibility to provide the board with the best information and an information that commits our investment and delivery of this second phase of the project.
Well, thank you. I'm just thrilled that we've got a clear path to the starting line at least, and we can worry about the rest of the race soon, but really thrilled that we've got this moving forward. So thank you all.
Very good. I have no other questions from my colleagues and no other question, I think, comments from staff. I just wanted to raise 4 issues. One, I wanted to reinforce a concern about cut and cover in the less important places. And I'm saying that because no one thinks they're less important on that street. We're going to have to really look at how to confine the boxes. I'm saying things I know that you know are obvious, but I do have a concern about the circulation into downtown. I also have a concern about the businesses on that street. And so as a request, I'd like to ask that the city of San Jose take a look at both locations with VTA now to look at what the possible impacts on those streets will be. And I know that's hard to look at relative to the situation we're in right now, but I do think understanding what the city's plan is, particularly as it relates to retail in that area, is going to be critical. The other thing on the East Santa Clara Street is that we have the downtown clinic not too far away. So we do have some significant medical uses that are still in this area. They may not be, they may be transitioning out. So I think part of what we need is a survey and an assessment of those businesses, because it may impact how VTA wants to approach this. It may also impact what the county and the city and the housing authority want to do as public property owners proximate to this location. So that would be a request, Sam, that I would be making of you all. I'd be very interested in the city's plan, but I think probably the first thing would be to do an evaluation. Because one thing I do know about the medical businesses on East Santa Clara Street is some of them are relocating because they're moving closer to hospitals. I don't know if that's still in process or if that's been complete. And the other is that we still have a lot of medical uses in the building on 14th Street, but off and on, well, I just don't know what the status of that building is relative to its owners and, what they're thinking about related to the future of that site. So all of those conversations to me would be beneficial to have sooner rather than later.
Cindy, when you're talking about transitional uses, you're not referring to the county clinic, are you?
No, what I'm saying is that on the
You're talking about the Chavez building, in other words.
Yeah, but on the south side of East Santa Clara Street, there's a lot of little medical buildings that are built in, or medical offices that are in there. And they've been slowly leaving since San Jose Hospital has left. I don't know what's left there. So really, I guess what I want is a survey of who's there. Are they planning on staying? What are they planning to do with their buildings? Because those who have left, for a lot of them, they own the buildings still. I just don't really know what that status is. I was hoping we would get an assessment of that when, as we were looking at the developments, a partnership between us and the housing authority on the other site, because you'd asked us to consider more retail. At the time that the board took the action to consider more retail based on what the city wanted, part of what I asked the county to do was have that discussion with you then. It just means that we should still have it, but we should have it with VTA and we should do a survey.
Yep.
And probably, I would be looking at the same thing on Stockton Avenue as well, although I don't really know all the uses there, but that seems to make sense to actually do a survey of what's happening there. And then lastly, I just wanted to acknowledge one of the points that that Director Perales made about what's happening in downtown. Again, this is all pre-COVID, but you have thousands and thousands and thousands of square feet being developed on the south side of downtown San Jose, and I think it's got to be below grade or above grade connections for stations, because I think we don't want to slow traffic any more than it's already slowed in the downtown. I think we want to minimize the pedestrian cars, situation if we can. And I've been thinking a lot about that relative to the Diridon site as well. It may make much more sense to go above grade. There are safety issues or a bunch of reasons that may make sense. but I would really be interested in whether or not the city of San Jose is interested in seeing skyways there longer term, especially because, you know, if you're going to have buses pulling up in front of the BART station to take people other places, having a bunch of pedestrians, it almost defeats the purpose of all the work that you're doing there. Not that you'd want to take pedestrians off entirely, but making sure that you don't have long stops to keep traffic moving through there, especially given our bus plan. Our bus plan is every 15 minutes. Let's not make it longer on our own. Like, let's get help on that. So those are just some observations and hoping that we get staff's feedback on that. Any questions about what I've just said or concerns? All right.
Madam Chair, this is Taki. The survey you're suggesting is very, very important, not only for the reasons you said, but also if we don't survey everything in that particular area, we won't be able to answer the question right-of-way encroachments, right-of-way takes, which will follow for the engineering design. So thank you for motivate us to work with the city of San Jose to help us with that, and we will do so.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And then the other is the timing of the construction on between 14th and 16th Street. I can't recall, or actually 17th, I'm sorry, 14th and 17th. I just can't recall the all of the timelines that people are looking at. And I also don't know if they've been disrupted too. So that's actually going to be kind of important as you think about what streets get closed and where and all that.
Yes, we will come back to you. We need some work here.
Great. I don't have any other comments, and I think we've exhausted each other. This is the only item we had on our agenda, so we don't need a motion because there was no action to be taken. I think that I want to just say again, Takis and Carl and Bernice and Nuria, to thank your team for all the really good work that you've done to get us back here. I think there are some really important questions that were asked about how you transition from one type of construction to another and whether or not it really saves money. All those questions I know we're going to be open to getting the answers to. And Carl, please thank your team for helping with creative solutions on this. With that, are there any announcements that anyone would like to make? This is item 4.1.
Sorry, this is Director Paralysis. Wanted to make one small addition, if I could.
Sure.
So I just want to make sure that staff begins outreach immediately to both the communities there on East Santa Clara and Stockton Avenue. And so I know that they have outreach, I think, material prepared, and so I want to make sure we begin that today. So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Raul, I really appreciate you raising it. Thank you. All right. So do we have any announcements? I don't think I have any hands for announcements. Let me just look at my screen. None. All right. Well, we are adjourned. Our next regular meeting is Thursday, May 7th at 5:30. Be there or be square. Actually, you will be square. But nonetheless, thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day.